What is up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of M2M coverage. I'm your host, Suraj Zaveri, joined by Kevin Kim and Geoff A as always. And today we are extremely crowded. We got 7 people on this call. I'm sure everyone wants to talk, but we're going to be wrapping up the conclusion, the emphatic conclusion to season 1 of Home Alone, created by Gavin Mangum. I'm not going to say much except congratulations to Team Caitlin. Well fought by Team Emir and Team Olivia. Kevin Kim, the floor is yours.
All right. So first of all, again, congratulations to #Team Caitlin, and big props to Gavin for just creating a great show that kept us entertained throughout this quarantine. But first of all, I was #Team Olivia from the beginning, and yes, it was a disappointing end to her run here. But I'm not going to let Geoffrey A come here and tell me and give me L's, because the reason why Olivia lost is because Caitlin saw her as better competition than #Team Emir. Let's all be real here. I think there was a point in this episode, in the finale, where when Olivia went up and said, Caitlin, if you picked me, I probably would have kicked your butt. They panned over to the jury, and there were many people in the jury who were agreeing with Olivia. So I think it was a general consensus that had Olivia made the final 2, she would have won. Obviously it's not a given. It's a hypothetical, but there's a reason why Caitlin picked Emir to go into the final 2 with her. So Geoffrey, don't tell me that Emir is better because he got into the final 2 and Olivia didn't, because really it was Caitlin who decided who was going to be in the final 2, and her decision was contingent on who's the weaker opponent. So that is my take on this finale. Again, I'm not going to undermine Emir because he's done a good job proving all of his doubters wrong, including me. I'm going to admit that I was wrong about Emir from the beginning. But Olivia did not lose because she was worse than Emir. She lost because she was better than Emir.
Strong take. I will say that this is a results-based business. Geoffrey A., now you may respond.
All right, Kevin, you want to know what this is? This is an L. All I hear is a bunch of excuses. So you bring up a hypothetical situation. So let me bring up a hypothetical situation too. So let's say Caitlin didn't win. Let's say Olivia won. She might have brought up Emir instead of Caitlin. Does that make Emir a stronger opponent than Olivia?
Sorry.
Exactly. No, it does. All right. So
of course it does. Olivia won. Hypothetical, Olivia won.
No.
Hypothetical makes absolutely zero sense.
No, it makes more sense than your hypothetical, because your hypothetical is stupid. All right. And let's not act like Emir got completely blown out, right? Because I don't think enough people are talking about this, but we know for sure that Emir got Miguel's and Kael's vote. But my question is if either Olivia or Jordan voted for Emir. And if they did, that means that the entire competition was determined by a coin flip by Nick, because Emir would have had 3 votes, and if Nick got heads or tails, depending on what he chose for Emir, that means both of them would have been tied. So I don't want to hear any of these excuses about Emir not being a strong opponent, because he definitely was. So yeah, Kevin, hold this L, because I was trying.
Okay, so first of all, Geoffrey, Caitlin got 5 votes, right? And I'm more than confident that Olivia could have gotten those same 5 votes. And second of all, I remember when we were looking at the preview of the finale, you were bragging that the challenge was a physical challenge. They had to flip tires. Emir got this in the bag. What happened? Emir, first of all, not only barely won the tire flipping part of the challenge, this boy was last place in the word search. He couldn't even find 5 names. So don't tell me that your opponent is just greater than everyone. Look, I admit Emir was better than I thought he would be, but this hypothetical that you give makes absolutely zero sense. Please never ever go in a logical argument with anyone ever again.
First of all, I didn't know there was a crossword thing, and if I knew about that,
it was in the preview.
Yeah, I didn't see it. And if I knew about that, I would have never picked Emir to win, because he is a moron, and I think we all know that. And second of all, my hypothetical makes complete sense, right? Because if Olivia did win, she would have taken Emir, which means, according to your hypothetical, Emir is stronger than Caitlin, but that's not true. So I think my hypothetical makes more sense than yours.
No.
because yours is stupid.
If Olivia would have taken Emir, that means she would have thought Caitlin was stronger.
You know what?
Whoever
all
you
that
take
means,
to the jury with you is
no.
that person's perceived view of being a weaker opponent.
No. All that matters is that Emir made it to the finals and Olivia didn't, and that makes Emir stronger.
Because Olivia was stronger.
Yeah, sure.
All right, ladies, that's enough. Okay, we have the actual contestants with us, and I'm sure they want to talk a little bit more about what you guys said. And then Geoffrey brought up a great point. The details of the voting were not necessarily revealed. We don't know who voted who, right? So if some of the contestants might want to reveal who they voted for, that could be something interesting too. But let's start with Team Caitlin. I was the only one who saw this coming in the finale, I will mention. But Caitlin, you ended up winning 2 out of the final 3 immunity challenges, as well as a 5-3 vote. Can you just talk a little bit more about how you got locked in down the stretch, especially when on the other side you have Team Emir, who's perhaps the most talented at physical and mental challenges, and then you have Team Olivia, who's clearly the strongest willed competitor in the game?
I think that is a different take than a lot of people have. I think I was definitely underestimated, and I think I definitely, in the beginning of the series, like played down my smarts and my athletic ability. So I think that, I mean, I love word searches, so I guess it was also luck of the draw with that, because like Olivia said in her confessional, if it was calculus problems, she would have won, and that is 1000% true. I can't do calculus problems, but I think that the final competition was a good way to see all different types of strengths, and I think that I reigned supreme in that. So
that is definitely true. We got some other competitors as well. First of all, just again, congratulations to you. Huge congratulations from everyone at M2M.
thanks.
But now we got Team Emir, who's the runner-up on Home Alone. How are you feeling right now, sir?
I think she deserved to win, but I mean, I'm obviously going to feel robbed at the end of the day. I think if it didn't come down to a jury vote, I think I would have had it in the bag. I think there's a bit biased from the panel and the jury, but I mean, it is what it is. That's part of the show, and Caitlin won.
And what do you have to say to Kevin calling you a moron out there?
I think ball don't lie. I think I proved everything on the court. You know what I mean?
I set the record straight. I did not call him a moron. Geoffrey Aji called him a moron.
Oh, Geoffrey Aji, my bad.
But it's different when Geoffrey calls me a moron. I have a unique relationship with Geoffrey. We go back back in the day. But respect to Kevin though. I mean, when someone can admit they're wrong, you respect that. So there it is.
Thank you for that take. Now we have Team Olivia, who was the 3rd place, voted out due to just the circumstances. Kevin, do you want to ask Olivia something specific? Because you were Team Olivia from the start.
Yeah, I was really high on Olivia's strategy throughout the entire series, but only one criticism I have, and actually this goes back to the reasoning why Caitlin didn't pick her to go with her to the final 2 is, Olivia, why did you have to tell everyone that you were so prepared for jury? Why did you have to flaunt that you have all these notes ready? I mean, that makes you a less appealing candidate to take to the final 2. I feel like had you been a little bit more discreet and secretive about that and presented yourself as not too all-knowing, maybe you would have been taken to the final 2.
Yeah, ciao. So thank y'all for having me on the show. Thank you especially to Kevin for being Team Olivia. Yeah, no, that was just bad. I don't know why I did that. I feel like that was the one thing that I did in the game that, like, what were you doing, man? Like, that was probably the one regret that I had. There was no reasoning behind that at all. I think it was just because, like, the three of us were just sitting. I don't remember when I showed Caitlin like that I was so prepared. I think it was right before we went to Shed, and all three of us were just like hanging out, and I was like, okay, like these are my friends. I'm gonna just show them. Like I was just so excited about the whole thing, and I wanted to tell somebody. Looking back at it, I don't know if things would have been different. I guess Caitlin can respond to that. I don't know if things would have been different had I not like revealed and showed my cards like that, but yeah, that's what I have to say on that.
Well, just to jump in real quick. No, I know that like you probably regret that and everything, but I think my mind was made up when I had to play it in the show. Like I didn't know to where it wasn't like, oh, I'm choosing Emir, and then everybody knows when the Shed comes and everything. Like it has to have some suspense. It's the finale and everything. And Gavin told me that in a confessional. I think Olivia was always, since the beginning, seen as the biggest threat, especially like what really solidified it is when we were doing the balloon match and everybody voted her for who most likely they want to win. And she even said in her confessional watching it back, she was like, well, that puts a target on my back. Like what the hell, you know? So I don't think it would have been smart considering all the girls that voted for me in the finale would have voted her. I don't know, but
Exactamente. See,
I still would have won next to Olivia, but it definitely would have been harder to win next to her.
I actually have a question for you, Olivia.
Okay.
Would you have taken Emir with you to the finals if you did win immunity?
Yeah, I had every intention of having a final two with Emir, and I think he feels the same. Not only just because I felt, no offense, Emir, that Caitlin, it would have been a harder fight to beat her, but also just because I trusted her so much more. And also, I do believe in revenge. So Caitlin was like the only person who ever wrote my name down on episode 3, like with Ryan. So this whole game, like, I guess it doesn't come off as much like in the show how suspicious I was of Caitlin because I also was not suspicious. I don't know. I couldn't make my mind up on Caitlin the whole season, but I definitely wanted at some point to get her out. Like the week we got Nick out was the week I wanted to get Caitlin out, but she won immunity, so obviously I didn't have that option. But yeah, I would have taken Emir.
Kevin, you know what that means?
That means I was right, you're wrong. I know.
No, that means Emir would have made the finals too no matter what.
Yes, because both of the opponents, Caitlin and Olivia, viewed him as the
Here we go, the
weaker,
excuses.
as the weakest of the three. Like, how does that not make sense to you in your mind?
Who cares what they think, right? What matters is that what other people think. And guess what? Emir would have gotten 4 votes in the jury if
Emir would have gotten 4 votes no matter who he went to the final two with.
Exactly.
4 or 3.
So, exactly. No,
he would not have gotten the
14.
majority ever.
No, yes, he would have. If it was Emir and Olivia,
Jeffrey, you're bragging.
No.
You're bragging that Emir would have been runner-up no matter in what scenario. But the reason why he would be runner-up was because either Caitlin or Olivia would have viewed him as the weakest of the 3. Like that is just logical sense.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is that
it does matter what they think.
No, it doesn't because Emir would have been tied if he was with Olivia. Because Kael would have voted for him, Miguel would have voted for him, then who else? Nick would have voted for him, and who's the other guy? The other guy would have voted for him.
Who?
I'm
Ryan?
gonna stop you guys right there.
Ryan would have voted for him. Yeah.
I see our fourth guest shaking his head, and I want to introduce him because this is my team from the beginning. Team Kael is on, saving the best for last, in my opinion. Kael, how you doing? And what do you have to say to what Geoff is saying?
I'm doing well. Geoffrey, it would have gone down to if Emir and Olivia were in the final two to comment on the speeches, but I probably would have voted for Olivia just because I thought she played the best game. And that if Emir would have won and took Olivia, I would have thought, oh my gosh, that's crazy how you're going to take Olivia, who I think played like an incredible game throughout. So that was
does this finally silence you, Jeffrey?
Screw you,
Thank you, Kael.
I'm sorry, but hey, I'm voting for who play the best game.
Thank you, Kael. Love you.
I see Geoffrey's point when he says Oh, yeah, he put himself in a position to seem like he would, like, that people would want to bring him to the final too because he put himself in that position. But unfortunately, I don't think it was gameplay because it wasn't all the way that I thought that Emir was a weaker player. I think it was also because I would want to be sitting next to a douche. And I don't think that that was gameplay. I think that that was just Emir. So I don't know if it was strategic in his, if he would have said in a confessional, I'm going to come off as a douchebag, so people want to bring me to the final, then that would be different. But I think that's just Emir. So I don't know if to commend him or hate him for that. But either way, he still would have lost, whether it be sitting next to me or Olivia. But he still would have gotten to the final too. So it's the way
you
you
won
look
on
at
the
it.
coin.
Do you think that?
You won
Oh, Amir.
on a coin flip from Nick. So
Okay, so I do think though, like, can I respond to what Caitlin said? Okay, I do agree with your point of like, it's not like a part of his strategy to intentionally like rub people the wrong way, and that makes it like a flaw. But I do think it is a strength that like even Jordan asked him in the finale like why he didn't care what people thought of him if they thought he was rude or whatever he was, because if he is able to stay in the game from week one, me and you had already been talking about how he was so aggravating the challenge. Like, if he would stay from week one all the way to the end, like, I think that is a strength. So this didn't make it into the show, but me and Jordan voted Emir and I voted Caitlin intentionally so that they would cancel each other out because we didn't know who we wanted to vote for. I just wanted to say that. I don't know if like that like change anything about how y'all feel about the show, but yeah, that is what happened.
I think actually that point solidifies my argument here. If had you been in the final two with Amir, so Jordan voted for Amir, so that's one less to Amir, because we all know Jordan would have voted for Olivia had Olivia made the final two. So that just weakens your argument, Geoffrey A. Do you have a rebuttal?
I don't know that. I mean, still, Amir still made it to the final two. That's all that matters.
Can I say something? Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I think what really screwed Amir and I think all the guys was that. I mean, I'm also bringing it up because it's where the boys' downfall was. But at 6, when Nick flipped, I think that pretty much proved that a girl would have won the season, because there's no circumstance where if a girl and a guy's in the jury, I'm pretty sure a girl's gonna win every time, as the way the jury laid out. So like that's why I thought if the guys got together and brought a guy to the end, that would change the game a little bit.
I actually think you bring up a great point there. Honestly, I don't really know how these type of shows truly work, but I mean, I feel like the jury should ultimately vote not on what type of body part you have, but on your gameplay throughout the entire season. I mean, I think in a large part, they didn't let gender play a role in their decision. I mean, if you look at Amir's gameplay, I mean, I got to give where props is due, because he had a target on his back since the very beginning. But, you know, he was kind of dominant in those challenges for immunity. And ultimately, I just think your personality is your biggest point here. And Amir's personality, I guess, just did not ring with a lot of the jury members. But ultimately, I do agree that, you know, had the Boys Alliance made better strategies, and if, you know, #why Nick didn't do what he did, I feel like we would be having a different conversation right now. Maybe even you would have been in the final two, Kael. Because I think everyone viewed you as one of the strongest opponents there. But, you know, like I said, I think you pulled your cards a bit too early, and I would say the same for Olivia. She pulled her cards with, you know, just showing how prepared she was a bit too early.
let me ask Olivia a question.
Okay.
Do you regret splitting the votes with Jordan?
Like in the jury?
Yeah.
At the
Do you wish you
time-
guys?
At the time, I do not regret it, because in that moment, I genuinely did not know who I wanted to vote for. So I didn't want to make a last minute decision. And then like, I just felt like that was the right idea in the moment. So I don't regret it in the moment, but looking back at it now, I'm sorry, Caitlin, I probably would have voted for Emir, just because, And I mean, again, at the time, like I voted based on what knowledge I had. But watching the show back and like seeing from that third person point of view, like watching everything that was going on, I probably would have voted for Emir. And then it would have been a tie, and who knows what would have happened. But I just think that, like Kael said, Emir had a stronger end game than he did in the beginning. And I do think that that was also partly because he wasn't able to have a strong game in the beginning because they had won immunity. So what are you supposed to do, you know, when you do have immunity? But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the winner of the show deserves to be the winner. Just because if you win the show, obviously you are the best at winning the show. Like, I don't know how, like, jury management is a part of the show. I don't care if the jury is a bitter jury. I don't care if the jury votes based on, like, who played the best game. You should know your competitors and how they're going to vote, and you should be able to respond to that. And I think, Caitlin, you obviously did the best job just because you did win. But, yeah, I probably would have voted for Emir.
I think my problem with all of this is that after the show ended, it seemed like nobody would shut up, especially Emir, not nobody, because some people obviously didn't care about, oh, if it would have been this way, if it would have been based on the audience voting. Like, have you ever seen an episode of Survivor? Like, I watch Survivor a lot, and please don't cut me off. Please don't cut me off. So as I was saying, one of the people that was in jury before, their question, everybody gets to ask a question. One of them says, pick a number 1 through 10. And that's all their vote is based on. People do that. That's the show. And it's also based on not seeing all the episodes. It's how you act. So I don't know if you want to create your own show and change the rules and have it being on an audience vote, but this Home Alone was based on Survivor and constantly talking, oh, well, if Nick wouldn't have done this and it's so aggravating. Like, it's over. Like, I don't need to hear all the hypotheticals.
Gavin knows there's a flaw with the show. He said it openly that there was a flaw with the voting system.
Okay.
So that says something.
Okay. But that wasn't it. Like, ever since the show ended, you have not, everybody's calling you bitter. Everyone's saying to get over it. It's not just me. So don't zip it. Stop texting in the Snapchat group, oh, if I would have won this, if I would have done that. Like, it's based on Survivor.
Yeah, okay. Another thing I'd like to mention is supporting the fact, like, Caitlin deserves to win, is she was calculating the votes from, like, 3 episodes before the final 2. So she definitely planned this out. She definitely deserved it. I want to ask you, what did you spend your $300 on?
I haven't spent it.
Oh, okay. So smart.
No, I'm trying to save my money.
Yeah.
So.
And I just like what's like to add on, you know, entering the show, the majority of the contestants are former students of Haynes Academy, right? So Caitlin really came in here not with as many connections as everyone else. So, you know, even if there may be flaws in the show or how it's set up, ultimately she deserved to win. Like, she had done so much work to get to the point that she is. And let's not forget, Team Solus also won. I was a Team Solus supporter from the beginning, and Team Solus lost every single challenge. So the fact that someone from Team Solus actually won the entire show just shows the tenacity and just the perseverance of each individual Team Solus member. Team Apex did well collectively, but individually, they weren't as loyal to each other. So that's just how it ended out. So Emir, you may say there's flaws in the show. I'm not going to disagree or agree, but ultimately I think no, we got to give props to the winner.
Thank you. And I think a lot could have been different.
Sorry, I can't wait. Can I also add that I want actually a positive thing for Caitlin. I never thought I'd say something positive about her, but she actually offered to give Gavin back the $250 at the end, but Gavin wouldn't take it back. So props to Caitlin as respect.
Yeah, I Venmo'd it to him, and then he Venmo'd it back, and I was like, are you serious, Gavin? Like, I was hoping he could use it for next season, considering some of the challenges, like especially the first one with the pool noodles and the infrastructure throughout the whole game wasn't the best. Yeah, that wasn't a big deal. But Gavin, you know how Gavin is. He's not going to let that fly.
Yeah.